Good afternoon, everyone, and you're very welcome to our afternoon or our midday slot here on our virtual career series, focusing in on engineering. And at this session, we're joined by Atkins, and Atkins needs another company that needs no introduction to DKIT. Very strong connection and partnership with DKIT over the years, and is a great endorser of all of our careers phase, whether they be face to face or virtual. So really tune into what Atkins are saying today, whether you're watching live or you're going to look back on demand, and listen to the insights in the companies and application details. Like with all of our sessions, we're encouraging you to get involved, pop any questions or chat or conversation you have into our chat or questions tab. And also just to remind everybody that Atkins will be hosting one-to-one sessions with students who are interested in just having a chat or maybe reviewing a CV and learning more about opportunities on a one-to-one basis from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock today. So I'm just going to put the link to the MS Teams into the chat function, and you can follow that, and I'll email the class groups as well. So let's get back to Atkins and introduce you to our speaker who's going to talk from Atkins today, Kevin McCabe. Kevin is a regional engineer with Atkins, and is one of our own, is a DKIT alumni, and is going to share his story with you today, as well as the great opportunities with Atkins. So Kevin, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Catherine. Good afternoon, everyone. And thanks for logging into the presentation, and thanks to all in DKIT for the support in getting this far. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments box, and we'll have plenty of time at the end to address the comments and questions. So I'm Kevin McCabe, and I'm a former graduate of DKIT. I graduated in 2014 and joined Atkins in May 2014. I actually finished my exams on the Friday and started with Atkins on the Monday. And you may not want to start as quickly after the exams as I did, but what I would advise you to do is start sending out your CVs with a cover letter from the end of January. And I have to add that the careers office in the college were of a great help to me in preparing for my CV and cover letter. So I'd advise you to pop on down there to them. So I am a project manager for the Motorway Contracts Audit and Administration Service, known as the MCAS contract in Region East. As part of this role, I am responsible for the day-to-day delivery of the Transport Infrastructure Ireland appointed Motorway Maintenance and Renewals Contract, known as the MARC, for Network A, ensuring the appointed contractor fulfills their contractual requirements on the motorway network within the region. In addition, I'm also responsible for the auditing, administration and management of 5-number PPP contracts in Region East, meaning I have a responsibility for over 300 kilometres of high-speed road network consisting of national road dual carriageways and motorway network in the Greater Dublin region. In 2017, Atkins were bought out by SNC-Lavalin, a Canadian construction company, making us one of the largest construction and engineering specialists in the world, expanding our global consulting, design, project management and professional services, working in over 50 countries around the world and in excess of 35,000 employees, and annual revenues of approximately 8 billion euros. Atkins are a long-established company in Ireland with over 50 years' experience, with offices in Dublin, Cork, Galway and Belfast. And now we also have the added bonus of a satellite office in Dundalk. We have approximately 200 employees in Ireland, and the global position is that we wish to grow that. We have every confidence that this will be achieved, as we have grown year on year in the 7 years since I've joined Atkins. Even through the pandemic, you'd be glad to hear. Atkins strive to be a premier engineering solutions partner for any project type, with a commitment to provide the highest levels of service to their clients, as our clients demand the best. So we must get the right people in the key roles to win and deliver work quickly. This is where it is important to hire the right people, such as yourselves. The safety of our staff, those around us, our clients and the environment is core to our principles. Each employee was required to complete their own health and safety personal commitments. These are a simple, visible manifesto stating that we will do what we will do to demonstrate our own commitment to these fundamental areas. Examples such as supporting colleagues in the pursuit of safety at all times, or proactively seek to encourage the physical and mental well-being of those around me. We are looking for today's most talented innovators and future thinkers to join our Dublin, Cork, Galway and Dundalk offices. We're proud of the work we do and that we are an employer of choice. Atkins Ireland is a member of SNC Lavalin, one of the world's leading providers of engineering professional consulting and support services. We possess a significant breadth of knowledge and depth of skills and experience for the ultimate benefit of our clients. We are a multidisciplinary consultant, working in such areas as civil, structural, geotechnical, mechanical and electrical engineering, infrastructure, transportation, water services, roads, rail, environmental, energy, surveying, project management, housing, and in an advisory capacity to our clients. We have an extensive client list with TII, almost all the local authorities, Irish Water, the NTA, OPW, Dublin Airport Authority, various government departments, pharma companies, Lidl, Circle K, Dublin Port Company, and Ryanair, to name just a few. One thing you're sure to get with Atkins, that is not always the case with other consultants, is an exposure to the client at an early stage. This not only helps to boost your confidence and morale, but also demonstrates the trust that Atkins have in their staff, project managers, and above all, the graduates. We have many accolades and company statements recognizing our abilities and qualities and the work that we do on a daily and project-by-project basis. Some of these include the Irish Building and Design Awards, where Atkins won Practice of the Year 3 years in a row. Also, Atkins is in the top 50 employers for women. And I would like to read a short snippet from an email sent to us, to all the MCAS staff, from the head of TII, head of operations. And he stated, the successful development of Atkins' relationship with the maintenance contractors over the duration of the MCAS commission is a significant factor. On behalf of TII, I wish to record the appreciation of our entire organisation for your efforts. Please pass on our appreciation to your support staff also. This was immediately after the events at Storm Emma. Atkins are an Engineers Ireland accredited employer and are passionate about the skills agenda and celebrating diversity and inclusion, as well as a strong advocate of STEM and early career development. Atkins has a learning and development committee and a strategy with clear objectives set out each year for what improvements need to be achieved to continue to make Atkins a great place to work. As part of our learning and development strategy, Atkins recently launched a new graduate training program. Becoming chartered or professionally qualified is a very important step to our employees' career progression. Atkins encourages all engineers to work towards chartership through our graduate and mentoring program. We offer a friendly and supportive environment for new graduates, and we have flexible graduate program with no closing dates. We take on graduates and interns throughout the year. So who are we looking for? Basically, as I've already stated, we are looking for today's most talented innovators and future thinkers who are highly motivated, looking to learn on the job, and want to get the most out of their careers. Atkins are offering graduates and interns positions in our award-winning company, working on some of the most exciting projects in Ireland. Some of the key benefits to working for Atkins. Offices are all open plan, where you always have access to project managers, line managers, and section heads, who are always friendly and very approachable. There's a competitive salary. You'll get 25 days leave. There's a pension scheme. Professional membership subscriptions are paid for. And we offer a referral bonus scheme, as well as an employee wellbeing program and a social club, who organise events, site visits, barbecues, nights out, and seasonal competitions. As previously mentioned, we're a multidisciplinary consultancy Therefore, there are opportunities to move and transfer within the company to work on areas that interest you, even between disciplines if you so wish. We have offices around the world, and this presents opportunities in itself to travel to other countries within the organisation. One of our graduates, who was working in the highways and transportation section, transferred from the Dublin office to Colorado a few years back. He spent the last 4 years working on some large-scale projects, transportation projects, and he was seconded into the Colorado Department of Transport for a time, which gave him a great experience. He is now basically set up a new life and is loving the outdoors that Colorado has to offer, and the good weather, of course. For DKIT, we are in a great location, being located on the right side of Dublin if you're travelling from the northeast. Plus, Atkins now has the Dundalk-based satellite office. Training. Atkins use several methods for training. Obviously, you're expected to utilise self-directed learning, but Atkins will provide in-house training. Plus, a mentor will be assigned to every graduate. And in actual fact, a mentor will remain with you up until you gain chartership. Atkins have a learning and development committee who organise many CPD events and lunchtime talks. Line managers will organise external training and courses where required or when you might request them. I'll now take you on a whistle-stop tour of some projects that Atkins have been involved with in Ireland and internationally over the last few years. Here we will see the Baldoyle Greenway, where Atkins offered design, planning and environmental services. Next, we have the Dublin Port, where this was a multidisciplinary service including M&E, fire and environmental services provided to the client. Rapid build housing developments utilising traffic and planning, M&E and architectural service, something that's very topical at the moment. Circle K, this was led by the infrastructure and M&E teams. The Ryanair headquarters, which are based beside our offices in Airside, Swords. Atkins had a multidisciplinary team involved here throughout, and were also the employer's representative for the job. And the NACE widening scheme, where Atkins were the employer's representative throughout this project, and still remain as the Salem bypass is not handed over yet. And then you have the award-winning wastewater treatment plant at Mutton Island. The motorway maintenance and administration contracts, which I work on, where we have a core team of 12 people, plus we have technical specialists at hand as and when we require them. The Dundalk Driver Test Centre providing civil and structural services. And Knock Airport, runways resurfacing, design and project management. And they had a lot of things to overcome in this job, as you can appreciate between landings and everything else. So just a quick look at a few projects around the world now. Here we have the Olympic Park, London, one that Atkins are very proud of, providing multidisciplinary services, including environmental impact assessments, design and project management. High Speed 2, where they've done with the design and environmental impact assessments. The Burj Al Arab, full multidisciplinary design, including M&E and site supervision. The Dubai Opera House, again, this was a full multidisciplinary services provided. And Jeddah Airport, full multidisciplinary services, plus the added bonus of the construction supervision for this large-scale project. Okay, so if what I've said already is not enough to sell you Atkins as a potential employer to you, here are my very own top 5 reasons why Atkins could be the best choice that you make. Number 1, exposure to clients. This may not seem important at this stage to you, but once you get involved with a project, no matter how big or small that is, you will soon appreciate the fact that you have been afforded client exposure. This will help boost your confidence and self-esteem, helping you to become a better engineer and leave you feeling appreciated and part of that team. Number 2, access to line managers and section heads. There are no doors closed in Atkins. This is hugely beneficial. If you have an issue with a project, something you're working on, or even on a personal level, there is always someone within the office you can approach. Line managers were all graduates themselves, and this is something that Atkins appreciates. And they are always on hand to assist and advise you. Number 3, global. Engineering takes you around the world. Atkins have offices all around the world. And all engineering disciplines are a career that will take you anywhere that you want to go. Plus, you've just seen a few of the projects around the world that Atkins have been involved with. 4, Atkins cares. Now, this may sound very cheesy, but in actual fact, Atkins actually care about all of their staff, and it is a team effort throughout the company. Atkins invests time and money into the well-being of staff with mental health awareness initiatives and mental health first aiders in all offices. And they also run ED&I, Equality, Diversity and Inclusion programs, and awareness talks to promote a more inclusive culture throughout the company. They also just launched a rewards program where you can be recognized financially for the good work that you do. Plus, all new starters in their initial integration into the company are assigned a buddy to help with their integration and to find their feet, as it were. And lastly, salary. I appreciate that most graduates will have their concerns about this, and Atkins offer a very competitive salary for all graduate positions. Okay, that concludes my presentation to you. Many thanks for logging in and sticking with me. I hope this has been of some benefit to you and will help you in your decisions ahead. Details are on the screen of how you can apply for a position within Atkins. Please feel free to, if you have any questions. If you do not want to ask questions on this platform, you'll have a chance for a one-to-one chat with one of my colleagues in the afternoon, or alternatively, feel free to email me directly. Thank you very much for your time and the very best of luck in your year ahead.
Thank you so much for that, Kevin. A really useful and thorough guide through the Atkins company, the clients that you work with, the exposures you said from an early stage to clients, and then the general application process, as well as your own journey, I think, within that. So for those who are listening live, please do feel confident enough to pop any questions that you have into the chat. But we do understand that later on at 2:00, two of Kevin's colleagues will be available to speak to you in that Teams, which is just there in the chat function. So you can have a click on that, and from 2:00 onwards, and they will have a chat with you then. Kevin, it struck me when I was listening to you, how focused you may need to be when you feel like you're a final year student on the type of engineering or focus of a civil engineer or other type of engineer that you need to have. What would your advice be for those who may just not be sure on what angle that they want to focus their career on?
Oh, that's a good one. I think a lot of students when they're coming into the 4th year kind of have an idea of whether they want to be site-based engineers or whether they want to be consultant engineers. And there's a vast difference in the two. I came into engineering through the long route. I was working on sites and worked my way up to a section foreman prior to becoming an engineer. And I went to DKIT as a mature student in the downturn. And I knew by the time I was in 2nd year that I had my fill of being out in the wet, the rain, and all weathers, and expected to be on hand for any given day. And I thought I wanted to be in an office environment. Now, at the same time, I'm not really a huge fan of being in the office all the time. So the job that I do affords me the best of both worlds. Although my job is primarily office based, because we have a large motorway network to look after, and we have to supervise and check works and whatnot. You can go to site at any time that you so wish to check on works, or there might be something you have in your head that you want to check, or you might be thinking of something that you want to you want works to be done, so you'll go out and scope it out and present it to the employer for consideration to then get the contractor to do the works. So I kind of knew which direction I was going to go, and luckily, as I was saying to you before the presentation, I seen this job come up in I think it was January or February when I was in my final year. I applied for it. I went to the careers advice office. I got my CV done up and my cover letter, sent it in, and then I got an interview with Atkins and was offered the job a couple of weeks later. And basically, I haven't looked back, but I think most students will have an idea that they either want to be office based or they want to be site based, and it's really is a personal choice, I think. When you're young and eager, site is a good option, and presents good opportunities in itself. The only thing I felt with site opportunities is the day you land on a job, you're working yourself away from a job, because that job will only last X amount of months or years, and when you get to the end, you could be moving on somewhere else. Whereas I have the stability of where I am at the moment anyway.
I think that gives a great insight into people, and I think you're right. When you come like yourself with experience of being on site, I think that gives you clarity around what it is you want to do. And I suppose there's a question linked to that. Most programs here in DKIT do have built-in placements or encouraging summer internships, that type of thing. I know Atkins are open to that as well, so that we can encourage students to apply directly to Atkins for that type of experience, and that you will be matched up to an appropriate sort of project linked to that.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. Okay. But for those who maybe don't have that much site experience, or maybe are maybe feeling that they're coming with a deficit in that area, is there anything that you could say to them to maybe think about in terms of what they're doing in their study that would help them with that interview?
Yeah, well, focus on your projects that you're working on in third year and final year, and your thesis as well. Like I had a preference towards transportation and highways and transportation when I was there. Some of the other classmates that I was with had a grow for structures and structural design, and they've gone working in that areas. Others have had geotechnical preferences, and there was other guys who didn't have anything, and they just really took the first job that came their way, and it's kind of worked out for them. And the other thing is, some of them have changed 2 or 3 jobs and are now found what they're happy. So there's nothing to say that you're going to know exactly what you want to do when you finish, but you will have an idea of what subjects you preferred when you were there, which will direct you into a choice. The other thing is, you have to remember, Atkins is not expecting anybody to come out and able to do the job on day one. You will be guided and whatnot. And the other thing is, with it being a multidisciplinary and a large company, if you join in and you get a job in the structures team, and you go and speak to the section head and line manager and say, I'm not really enjoying this. I wouldn't mind working in water services or infrastructure or highways. There's no problem with being facilitated that way either. People have moved about, and people have worked in several areas, to make themselves better engineers, to get a broader overview of engineering.
Yeah, and most likely each project tells you a little bit more about where your strengths and what your own motivations lie. So you're open as a company to taking graduates in and helping them work and find their own strengths in that way then.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, great. In terms of the application process, and maybe Kevin, you may be aware of it or not, but in terms of how lengthy that is, there are some companies who've got a sort of a long process of assessment centres and online tests. From your experience and from your knowledge, submitting the CV and then a follow-up interview was the way in which you were hired.
Yeah, there's no big lengthy process as far as I'm aware with Atkins. We took on 4 students there in the summer in the Dundalk office. 3 came from DQIT. I think it was two third or fourth years, two third years going into
Third
fourth
years.
year,
Hmm.
and I think one was in first or second year,
Yeah.
and then there was another girl from Trinity, and they just applied into Atkins, and you know they were
They,
given an interview, and they came and joined. And then for the more permanent positions, yeah, it's just either go to careers Ireland at atkinsglobal.com. But I would advise that you do accompany your CV with a cover letter. I think that's key.
Yeah, that's really important, and you did, and rightly so. And thanks for that. Promote the career service here in DKIT, or any career service that you're engaging with, to support you with that. Just having that other eye over your CV to make sure you're honing in on the right type of projects, the right type of skills, and putting that cover letter together, and not just saying, "Please see attached my CV," saying a little bit more within that for your motivations.
Without a doubt, I found the careers office was hugely beneficial to my CV. My CV was completely transformed. Like what I thought was pretty okay was completely transformed. Trying to get everything into 2 pages, and trying to, those tricks and tips that was showing there, that you can get a lot of information. You have to remember that companies are getting a lot of CVs. If they see something that's 5-6 pages, they're not even going to entertain it. You have to try and get as much in on the page, without making it look untidy or anything else. And no, I thought I have to say the help that I got in the careers office was hugely beneficial to me.
That's great. It's good to hear, and we are definitely encouraging all students to avail of that. It's here for you. And this year, luckily, it is face to face as well as being virtual. So a little bit easier to engage with as well. So Kevin, from our perspective, what we want to do is encourage students to consider Atkins from both a placement and a graduate perspective. And more than likely, when you're there for a placement, the options are even wider for you when you to progress with the company as a graduate. To learn more, or to speak maybe a little bit more individually, I'm just going to promote again the fact that Atkins have kindly offered to offer out one-to-one meetings. That Teams link is there in the chat function. I am encouraging you to do that. You don't have to have anything prepared, just to have a conversation, find out a little bit more, and speak to the guys there who have an insight into how is the best way to put your foot forward. Just keeping an eye on any final questions. The the area of the level, as you'll probably be aware, Kevin, we've got different levels here in terms of level 7 degrees and level 8 degrees. What is your preference, or does Atkins have a preference in terms of what type of degree you should have if applying?
Um, there is people working in Atkins that have a level 7 and are doing the level 8 on a part-time basis.
Yeah.
Well, it may sound a good option, but it's very tough. It's very, very tough to be working and do a part-time degree. I know by the guys that are, one of the guys that just recently finished, it really took a toll on him. If my best advice would be to try and get it all out of the way in one hit. If you go part-time, it's 2 years. If you stay for the add-on, it's 1 year. I know maybe financially and other constraints might be in the way of you doing that, but if at all possible, I'd advise to try and stay at it and complete it in the year. Atkins will take on level 7, but you have to remember, as a level 7, you'll only be regarded as a technician. You will not be an engineer. And that would be the same if you then so choose to move on to local authority or local government jobs. So you do need the level 8, and I'd advise, if at all possible, you can stick it out to do it in that year.
Okay. That's really useful insight. Brenda, thanks for the question. A really important question, I think, from people when there's so many good opportunities out there, Kevin, you to see, okay, I might focus in on getting the work experience whilst doing the honours degree, but good to have that insight from your perspective. And of course, that can be expanded out in terms of a one-to-one conversation later on if you wish.
Yeah.
Kevin, thank you so much. Welcome back to our virtual campus. You're always very welcome. And thanks to Atkins and all their support of both this event and our event on on Monday for the built environment, where you'll also be participating. And as I say, encouraging everybody to get involved, and all the contact details are there on the screen, and you can look back on this presentation on demand. Thanks, Kevin, and thanks to all at Atkins.
Thanks very much, Catherine. Thank you. All the
Okay,
very
take
best.
care.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.